What's going on, guys? Eric Pate here, back with another video. Take number 5, because the so the first 3 takes, I have all the information I needed and realized that that's probably important. I wrote it down just in case I forget. The fourth take, I accidentally had the name of my apartment complex. In the title of the video, because I hold up a piece of paper like this, and it said, well, it said my apartment number, but it didn't say the name of my complex. But there are like only like 4 or 5. There's like 6 different apartment complexes with letters and numbers in Northwest Arkansas, so it's only a 1/6 possibility of getting the right apartment, and I'm not going to risk doing that. So, anyway, let's go ahead and talk about could Germanwings 9525 been prevented? Like the crash. Could the crash of Germanwings 9525 been prevented? My answer, I'm going to talk about why I don't think it could have been prevented, but I'm mainly going to talk about why it could have been prevented. So let's go and talk about why it couldn't have been prevented. No one at Lufthansa knew, no one at Germanwings knew that the first officer was mentally unfit to fly, because at the time the first officer had mental health issues. And at the time it was also first officer, also at the time, first officers, captains or first officers can be in the cockpit by themselves. But now, due to Germanwings 9525, I saw on a Southwest flight where one of the pilots had to use the restroom. One of the 2 pilots, but the purser had to be in the cockpit while the pilot was using the restroom. Mainly because of the crash 9525. Let's go ahead. So yeah, let's go ahead and now talk about why I think it could have been prevented. I think the answer was found in Indonesia, but for some reason, the chairman of the NTSC was saying that there was insignificant evidence, while the guy from the NTSC was investigating. He found enough evidence that there was pilot suicide. Our NTSB, our investigating agency, NTSB, National Transportation Safety Board. I don't know what NTSC stands for, so that doesn't matter for this video. I'm not going to do a take number 6, because that's not really, I don't think that's really important. But when Silkair Flight 185 crashed on December 19th of 1997, flying from Jakarta to Singapore, and it crashed in the Musai River in Indonesia, the captain was going through a lot of stuff at the time. This is why I think there was I think there's more than enough evidence to prove that there was pilot suicide involved in Silkair 185. Primarily because I think, if I remember correctly, the pilot just got reprimanded because he injured a lot of people while doing a way too fast landing. He just went bankrupt. He lost a bunch of stock when the Singapore stock market crashed. And 18 years before, on the exact day he cheated death, when his plane malfunctioned, he was out flying with 4 friends. In each friend was in a separate plane. Well, the captain of this flight's plane happened to malfunction. He had to turn around while the other 3 slammed right into a mountain. So I think there was some survivor guilt involved too. There was more than enough evidence to prove that it was pilot suicide. I have no idea why the chairman of the NTSC said that there was not enough evidence to try to figure out what the heck caused the crash of Silk Air 185, because it's not known for a plane just to magically fall out of the sky. I feel the same way with Malaysian 370, which that one I don't know any information about. By the way, with Malaysia 370, no one knows anything anymore. I think I was told last time they actually gave up the search for the plane, which I think is bullshit. There are over 200 people. There were over 200 people on that plane. I could just go ahead and say like everybody died on 370. So, so pilot suicide, I think, was definitely the cause of Silk Air 185. I think we need to reopen the case of Silk Air 185 and look at all the facts again. Get the NTSC, NTSB involved. Reopen the case and look at the facts again. Because I can guarantee you, if we reopen the case of Silk Air 185, we'll have to look at all the facts. There was actually enough evidence proof that it was not a fourth rudder malfunction in the 90s, because at the time, 737s, which was the plane that did Silk Air 185, was having rudder malfunctions. I don't think a rudder malfunction was involved in Silk Air 185. Let's reopen the case and see if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure I am. Let's fast forward 16 years later when LAM... Okay, the next crash we're talking about, I do apologize if I butcher any of this. LAM Muzbabwe Flight 470 on November 29th of 2013 killed all 33 people aboard the E-190. Was flying from Mapquato, Mozambique to di Favre, Angola. And it crashed in Namibia at the Divino do National Park. I do apologize if I butcher any of that. And this one, year before he lost his kid, he was going through divorce, going through depression. The captain of the flight was. So, and they definitely said pilot suicide was involved, because the way the plane crashed, it looked like nothing was wrong mechanically. So they went and looked at the pilots, because how the plane crashed was when it hit the ground. They said the plane skidded, I believe, I believe in the air disasters it said it skidded like 400 yards before it finally broke up. Well, it broke up while it was skidding the 400 yards. But it still killed everybody on board. Which leads us to the Germanwings accident. Now, in Silk Air 185, in Flight 470, the first officer was not in the cockpit either time. Now, the reason why nothing was captured on Silk Air's flight data recorder was because he turned off the flight data recorder right before he plunged the plane and had to ask the first officer to leave because it would also go off on the first officer's side. Now, let me think about. But in the Germanwings, it was the first officer. First officer was also seeing therapists and whatnot, fired several different therapists, all because they were telling him he was unfit to fly. In Germany, I was told it is illegal for doctors to tell people's workplace that they're not allowed to fly. They can get prosecuted. I wouldn't have cared to get prosecuted if I was one of those doctors. I would have told Lufthansa that, hey, Andre Lupitz is not fit to fly a plane. Because if I did do that, 150 people will still be leaving right now. 150 people boarded Germanwings 9525. Not a single one of them got to live half the flight. Is it? Because it crashed, I was told only 42 minutes into the 2-hour flight over to Brussels. Not a single one of them. There were 100, like I said, 150 people boarded 9525. Not a single one of them made it an hour into the flight. Because Andre Lupitz decided to crash that plane. I believe the air digester said it only crashed like 45 minutes into the 2-hour flight. It's ridiculous. Like I said, I would have cared. I would have told Lufthansa because they were the parent company of Germanwings. So, the answer to my question I asked earlier, could Germanwings 9525 been prevented? My answer is yes. Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, comment, favorite, be nice, go be awesome, be a pain, no hate. See you later.